So I am born and raised in St. Louis. I grew up in the Lewis Place neighborhood, which was one of the first neighborhoods in which African Americans were able to own homes in the city of St. Louis. So I'm very proud of my St. Louis roots. I also went to college in St. Louis, Webster University, two-time alum. I got my MBA degree and my bachelor's degree from Webster University. So that's my St. Louis roots.
Yeah, St. Louis is home for me. I grew up in Moline Acres, lived there till I was about 15 years old, moved to Walnut Park. From Walnut Park, I moved to Hyde Park. So North County and North City are very, very important to me. I have a huge sense of pride and ownership of those areas. So St. Louis is home.
So in addition to working with Dream Builders for Equity, being the co-founder of the organization, also serve on the board of City Gardens Montessori School, and also just love to volunteer with youth in the city through the Boys and Girls Clubs and other organizations that support youth in the city of St. Louis.
So I'm a board member of the Young Griot Society, which is led by Adam Lane, a young, dynamic young man. And they're doing some great work with literacy, and then just making the students feel very proud of being creative. I also I used to be on the board of We Power. They're doing great work with giving voice to the community. I'm very proud to be involved with both of them. And then I'm also the founder and president of Connected St. Louis. And we are doing work to encourage people to support Black-owned businesses, build relationships with the owners, and then just network and fellowship together.
My favorite thing about St. Louis are the neighborhoods, actually. Every neighborhood is very unique, has its own sense of culture, and its own sense of pride. And that's the most unique aspect of St. Louis, I think. And it's also the most important piece as we look to rebuild North City, really keeping the culture, keeping the pride, and allowing the residents to really have ownership in what the future looks like. And so I think that's what's awesome about St. Louis, is the neighborhoods and the historic nature of it, and all of the roots. As we talk about St. Louis roots, we talk about Annie Malone and DeVille. We think about all of the historic natures of Chuck Berry and all of the great people that have come from the city of St. Louis. And to just be associated, just to know that there have been many famous people that have come from St. Louis and many people that have done great things to change the community. Every time you look up, you hear about people that come from St. Louis that make a difference on a national level. And that's what I'm looking to do, is to really continue to use St. Louis as the platform to show that there is potential for change in America and potential for change in how our youth, specifically our Black youth, are described and talking about their future. So I am excited about our future in St. Louis, and especially the neighborhood and the culture.
My favorite thing is the potential. So I travel a lot, and every time I come back to St. Louis, I realize that we still have a long way to go, but I'm excited about that. That's what actually drives me and Neil to continue to work, because we do see a need, we do see a demand for people to just step out and be and really take St. Louis into their own, and then just love it, and just love the people, and really show our passion.
It's an amazing place to start a business, because we are a true Midwest city where grassroots organizations, really pulling yourself up, really finding ways to start a business, finding ways to be a hard worker, is just evident. It's like the blueprint of who we are as St. Louisans. And there's a culture of people that's willing to work hard, willing to make a difference, if given the right platform, if given the right opportunity. We also have a rich university community here, and we have a wide talent pool. And so being able to connect with Washington University, St. Louis University, Webster, Harris Stowe, all of those universities that have great young talent in the city of St. Louis, and giving them pathways to engage with organizations like Dream Builders, like We Power, to show that St. Louis has a lot of opportunity and potential, really sparks something in people. It really shows that if I put my mind to something, that I can really make a difference here in St. Louis. And I think that's why St. Louis is a great place to start a business, because you can really make an impact instantly if you just put in the hard work.
So I believe that the demand is here. So that's the biggest thing for me. The demand is here. People are looking for change. They're looking for growth. They're looking for people to actually come in and make the city a better place. So I'm super excited about the potential. Every single day I'm inspired by my peers, people like Neil, Charlie, Adam, to name off a few, Bruce Franks, Jason over at Mission St. Louis. These are just great people, great young people doing some amazing things and being extremely passionate about changing the community and changing the culture. I look to these people to actually make doing right cool, make it popular, and I think that's what can really grow the city.
Just getting them engaged, changing really the narrative around St. Louis. I mean, we all know the events of Ferguson. Unfortunately, that has put a black eye on the city of St. Louis as a whole, but really showing them something different, that there is potential within our community, there is opportunity for them to make a difference in a positive way, and really show them that St. Louis is an amazing place. We have rich culture, we have great sports franchises like the Cardinals and the Blues, and we have a lot of great things to do here in St. Louis, and it's continuing to grow, and I'm excited about our future here. But I think a lot of people, when they see St. Louis, they see the segregation, they hear about Ferguson. But if we show them something different, that's the biggest piece, is making them feel welcome and show that they have a place here in St. Louis, even if they weren't born and raised here.
Yeah, I think we just have to be authentic. I think everyone just needs to just truly be themselves, take off the mask, and just allow themselves to be comfortable. And that will allow the people, the newcomers, to come in and feel like, okay, this can be home. I can be myself. I won't be judged. And I think that's the biggest thing. Again, it's going to always come back to culture and how are we, like, what are we really investing in? What do we really believe is the foundations of this city and what can make it a better place? And if we're all just being true to ourselves, I think that will make people feel a lot more welcome.
Civic pride is everything. Being a native of St. Louis, living here my entire life, it's everything. Again, we talk about changing the narrative around St. Louis. And if we don't believe in ourselves, no one else will. And we have to really take ownership of the stories and be able to tell the real stories of St. Louis around the positive things that's happening in the community, the positive role models that do exist, highlighting the great stories and the great things that's happening in Ferguson since the Mike Brown incident. As we think about the Forward Through Ferguson organization, as we think about WePower, as we think about Dream Builders, as we think about all of the other organizations that are really out here to make a change and make a difference, it's that civic pride. We care about our community, we care about the stories that are being told outside of this city, and we want to make sure that people understand this is a place where dreams are possible and that families are being uplifted and brought up, and that young black kids do matter here in St. Louis.
Yeah, pride is something Neil and I talk about a lot. And with pride, the first thing that comes with it is ownership. You have to have ownership before you can have pride. So it's extremely important. We all need to feel invested in the community. If you feel invested, then you can truly love it, truly appreciate it, and you want to see it grow. So civic pride means everything because, again, going back to Dream Builders, ownership is the first key.
Hello, my name is Neil Richardson.
I'm Michael Woods.
And we are the founders of Dream Builders for Equity.
And we are St. Louis champions.